After a relatively mute summer, gold is now on the move. So how can precious metals investors best position themselves? Longtime contributor to Kitco.com and the editor of thegoldforecast.com, Gary Wagner is back on with us. Gary, good to see you again.
Pleasure to be here. Pleasure to be here as always.
So just when it was looking like a quiet summer, gold is definitely on the move, hitting a 3-week high. We're over the 50-day moving average right now, Gary. How should investors rebalance themselves here and trade the rest of the summer market?
Well, it's certainly turning out to be an interesting summer that's not filled with the doldrums that we typically get as gold and silver traders. We definitely hit a bottom last week, and as the market has been moving up, we have seen it break through a couple of strategic levels. I think that we still have higher to go.
So I know for some time, we've been talking about trading the gold-silver ratio. So what's the best strategy with that now?
Well, that ratio has just been moving higher up until the very, very recent. Historically speaking, when we look at the markets moving up, silver will tend to outperform gold. However, in this particular instance, they're actually running fairly close. Silver today is outperforming gold, but only by a slight margin.
So, Gary, would you get into the markets at these levels?
You might want to wait for a dip, but it's really depending on what your purpose of obtaining gold is. If it's a long-term investment in which you're buying physical bullion or coins, you should be constantly adding to your portfolio and looking to have your portfolio have about a 10 to 12% mix of the precious metals.
So, but right now, this whole week has shaped up to have a really strong gold chart here, right, Gary?
Absolutely, absolutely. We've got a number at around 1261, which is a former top. We're very, very close to that. And of course, we have been looking at the fact that on the last two occasions this year, the market has traded to or near 1300. It hasn't had the ability to break above that. With the fundamental events that are in the marketplace now, we could actually see a break above 1300 if we continue to see this rally have the kind of steam and momentum that it currently does.
I was just going to ask you that, Gary. So 1300 now officially back in the cards for you.
Absolutely. I never really took it off the table, but we've got to account for, as I said, 1260. Then 1273 on top of it. Those are the two key levels to watch for. A break above 1273 to me will signal the proper momentum to go back up to 1300. But we first have those two benchmarks.
All right, Gary Wagner, thanks so much for joining us today. Good thoughts.
Thank you so much for having me.
And thanks for watching this edition of Kitco's Gold Report. We'll see you next week.